If you choose to only watch one DFB video before you go on your upcoming Disney World trip, let it be this one. That's how important we think it is, because we're going to cover everything you need to know before you go to the most magical place on Earth and make sure your Disney World trip is set up for success. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog, and today we're covering all the major questions that come along with planning a Disney World trip, both before you arrive and once you're there. Throughout today's video, we're also going to be featuring a lot of free guides that we want to give away too, to help you continue to plan out the details surrounding your trips. So keep your phones out and be ready to scan those QR codes once you see them pop up on the screen. Okay, so you're going to Disney World. Now what? I'm sorry, I'm just so excited for you. I mean, it's Disney World. That place is a good time, but I also know everything can be super overwhelming when you first start planning, even if you've been there before, because there's a lot of changes and a lot of things that are different from the last time you were there. Now, don't forget, this place isn't just Cinderella Castle. Disney World is very much like its own city that's the size of San Francisco. So let's break it down. What are the key parts of this Disney World / Disney City that you need to know? Disney World is made up of 4 theme parks. Magic Kingdom, that's the one with Cinderella Castle. Epcot with the giant golf ball thing out front. Disney's Hollywood Studios, kind of a hodgepodge park right now, but you're going to find a replica of the Grauman's Chinese Theater here, plus a haunted elevator and a whole Star Wars land. And Disney's Animal Kingdom, giant tree, lots of animals. But now there's more. Disney World also has 2 water parks, Disney's Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon, though you'll never see them both open at the same time. It's usually just one or the other. There's also an entertainment, shopping, and dining district called Disney Springs. It's full of stores and fantastic restaurants, and sometimes even a talking fir tree named Douglas. Not to mention there are also mini golf courses and world-class golf courses, and so many different hotels too. So in short, this place is pretty massive, and that means you'll want to make sure you plan out each Disney day without the impression that you'll be able to just walk everywhere around property, because you definitely are going to need to rely on some sort of transportation to help you get around. Don't worry, we got you. More on that later. Okay, so what to pack? I've been going to Disney World for too many years to count, and I still find myself having those moments right before a trip where I unzip my empty suitcase and flip it open and then just stare at it for a really long time. And that's because even starting the packing process can be overwhelming when you know you're going to need quite a few things to keep you clothed and clean and park ready throughout the duration of your trip. So here are some of our must-include packing essentials that you don't want to forget when you're in the middle of picking out your outfits for each park day. First up, that portable charger. A battery charger that's slim and easy to carry in your park bag while you're out and about will give you the peace of mind that even if your phone starts flashing that 20% battery warning at you, you're going to be able to recharge while you're on the go. I really like my cordless chargers, the ones that either just stick onto my iPhone because they're MagSafe and they just are magnetic on there, or the ones that just plug directly into my iPhone without a cord. I use those all the time because I don't like having the big long cord tail thing between my phone and my bag. And the second essential we always bring, those refillable water bottles. You're gonna need to stay hydrated while you're in the park since you're gonna be walking a lot and you'll probably be out in the sun if you're going to Orlando anytime between like February and November. But thankfully, you don't have to spend money on plastic water bottles if you don't want to. You can bring a water bottle from home and refill it at Disney's refillable water stations that are sprinkled throughout the parks. Essential number 3, ponchos or umbrellas. There's a very high chance it'll rain on you while you're at Disney, so if you don't want a little afternoon drizzle slowing you down, then you can come prepared. You're going to want to buy these items before you get to the parks if you can, because you can buy them in the parks, but they cost a lot more. Essential number 4, those blister prevention pads. Like I said before, you'll be doing a ton of walking when you're at the parks, so even if you've worn those shoes 10,000 times before, you probably haven't worn them for 20,000 steps in a row, so be prepared to fight blisters with blister prevention stuff, but also blister band-aids, and I always have at least one sheet of moleskin. And essential number 5 is that sun protection. The UV rays in Orlando are no joke, so come prepared with sunglasses and ball caps, sunscreen, and your preferred cooling items like cooling towels or misting fans, etc. Now, I got a lot more items I want to recommend to you, but we still got a lot of ground to cover today. So I think this is the perfect time to bring up our first free DFB guide of the video, our DFB planning worksheets. These come with helpful planning timelines and extra Disney vacation tips, and of course, a full packing list. So you can scan the QR code right now with your phone, but if you don't have your phone handy, or you're not watching this on a TV or actually watching it on your phone, you can also head to disneyfoodblog.com/disneyplans after this and pick them up that way too. Okay, which hotel should you choose? We've got our suitcases packed and we're ready to go, but where are we going to let our suitcases live during our vacation? Oh, and where are we going to live too? That's equally as important. There are a lot of different Disney-owned hotels to stay at on Disney World property, but there are some hotels that are technically on Disney World property but aren't owned or run by Disney, like the Four Seasons or Walt Disney World Swan and Dolphin. These are still solid hotel options that can give you some great Disney perks despite you choosing not to stay with Disney directly, because they're all playing on the same team. But for now, let's talk a little bit more about what you can expect from the Disney-owned hotels. There are 3 classes of hotels owned by Disney. Value resorts are going to be your, most affordable option, I guess, with prices typically ranging between $150 and $250 per night. Moderates are going to be our middle-of-the-road option with slightly more elevated rooms and amenities. These tend to range between $300 and $450 per night. Deluxe resorts are going to be your higher-end option. These have prices starting at $500 per night. And Disney's villa hotels also live in that deluxe option category. There are several reasons why you might want to stay at a Disney World owned hotel, including benefits that apply to resort guests like free transportation to the parks, top quality service from cast members, extra park hours benefits, and of course the charming and immersive Disney theming. When you stay in a Disney resort, a lot of folks will refer to that as staying in the Disney bubble. But there are also some reasons why you might not want to stay in a Disney World hotel or in the Disney bubble, like the cost savings or additional room space you can find at other nearby off-property places. For a cheaper option, you might want to look into other Disney Good Neighbor hotels nearby, which aren't owned by Disney but partner with Disney to give guests cheaper hotel options and select Disney guest benefits too. Or you can always rent a Vrbo or Airbnb for a more spacious and cheaper option, though you will be missing out on all those extra Disney guest perks if you choose that route. Yep, looks like you got a little studying to do, but the good news is that we've already done a lot of that research for you. So here's another free guide coming your way. Scan the QR code up on the screen now to pick up our guide reviewing every single Disney-owned hotel that you could possibly book, complete with our personal rankings so you can learn about our favorite options as well as the ones we're not quite as sold on. You can also head to disneyfoodblog.com/hotels to pick up that free guide instead. So here's a good question. Is a vacation package right for you? When you go to purchase your Disney hotel room, you're going to be presented with 2 options. You can get a room only or a package option. A Disney vacation package means you can bundle the price of your hotel room and theme park tickets together instead of purchasing them separately. The good part about this is the flexibility on payments. When you book a vacation package, you'll have to pay a $200 deposit initially, but after that, how you pay off the remainder of your balance is totally up to you, just as long as you've made those final payments 30 days before your vacation begins. So it's kind of like installments or payment plans. Meanwhile, if you pay for hotels and tickets individually, you will have to pay for all of those park tickets at checkout. The first night of your hotel stay will also be due when you book a hotel-only reservation, but the remainder of your payment will be taken once you check into your room. So the upfront costs are going to be more expensive. However, in general, paying separately for your hotel room and tickets could be cheaper in the long run. Disney often offers savings opportunities over on their special offers, deals, and discounts page via the Disney World website all year round. Every now and then, those savings can apply to a Disney vacation package, but more often than not, they're going to apply to those individual hotel and ticket purchases to help you save 10 to 20% off your trip. So do the math, crunch the numbers, and see what's going to work best for your family. Now, wait a minute. What are these Disney dining packages and do I need them? Another big part about choosing a vacation package versus paying for hotel and tickets separately is that you must choose the vacation package route if you also want to buy a Disney dining plan during your trip. Much like the vacation package itself, the Disney dining plan also comes with its own share of pros and cons. The dining plan is a way to pay for your Disney World meals before your trip, so you're prepaying for everything you're going to eat in Disney World, basically. With the dining plan, all you have to do when you get to Disney World is head to a participating Disney restaurant, which is most of them, with a few exceptions here and there. Then order your food, eat, and scan your Magic Band or Key to the World card or your Disney Magic Mobile to pay. This runs on a credit system, and the credits for the meal or the snack you're buying for each person will be deducted from your total allotment. Easy peasy. Note that while you don't need to pay for your food while you're dining at a table service restaurant, which is a sit-down restaurant, unless you order extras not covered, gratuity is not included in the Disney dining plan, so you'll still need to budget for that. Now, there are two different plans to meet different budgets and dining needs or desires. The first is the quick service plan, which focuses more on the fast food options around the parks and hotels. And the other is the standard dining plan, which includes one table service meal and one quick service meal each day. The biggest thing to note about the Disney dining plan is that this is a big convenience factor and won't necessarily save you money on food. But if you want to learn more about the ins and outs of this service, to figure out if it's the right option for you and your family, we do have a ton of Disney dining plan videos out now that cover all the major advantages and disadvantages this plan can present. Just head to the playlist tab on our YouTube page and scroll down to find our full playlist of Disney dining plan videos. So what's this weird thing in my hotel room? I see you've gotten a chance to meet Hey Disney, so let me help acquaint the two of you even more. Hey Disney is a complimentary perk available to guests staying at the Disney World hotels. This thing works similarly to an Alexa device, offering custom voice assistance inside your hotel room and providing you with things like room amenities and guest services, extra trip planning, and weather info, that sort of stuff. It also has a lot of Disney charm to it, with additional features that allow you to chat with characters or even hear a nightly bedtime story. If you're not super thrilled with the idea of Hey Disney, which not everyone is, you by no means have to use it. You can just unplug it and stick to requesting any additional amenities by using your in-room phone to call down to the front desk. Now let's talk park tickets. Buying Disney World park tickets isn't as easy as going online and clicking a Buy Tickets Now button. There are a few extra steps you're going to need to take to make sure you're securing the tickets you actually want for your trip. But before we walk you through it, I'm going to warn you, not all days are created equal when it comes to theme park admission prices. Essentially, Disney uses a calendar system for its prices that's solely based on demand. So peak days, like during the holidays and other days that Disney expects the parks to be busier, are going to have higher ticket costs. However, if you go during a slower period, like back to school season when the demand isn't as high, the tickets will cost less. Prices can jump up or down depending on when you'd like to visit, so scouting out a slower time could mean big savings. Also, you want to keep in mind that park tickets do expire, so while your parents might have tickets from the 90s that are still totally good to go, the tickets you buy tomorrow will have a set expiration date. Yep. Back in the day, they didn't have expiration dates and they didn't expire, so there are a lot of tickets floating around from like the 80s and the 90s that are still perfectly good to use, but they added an expiration date not too long ago, and now they're going to expire. Now you're going to want to mark that down in your calendar and make sure you get your full use out of those tickets before they kick the bucket. All right, now that we've talked about prices, let's get into the specifics. First, you need to ask yourself, do I want to visit Disney across multiple days or just go to one park on one day? For the majority of you, you're probably interested in the multiple days option, which means all your ticket prices are going to be the same for each park. However, if you're only wanting to purchase a one-day, one-park ticket for a super-de-duper quick Disney trip, park ticket prices will vary depending on which park you choose. Typically, Magic Kingdom will have the highest costs, followed by Hollywood Studios, then Epcot, then finally Animal Kingdom with the cheapest prices. Now, for all you multi-day park guests out there, you've got another decision to make. You can get tickets that give you access to one park per day, or you can opt for a ticket with the Park Hopper option. With the Park Hopper option, you have the ability to hop between any of the 4 Disney World theme parks in a single day, however you see fit, and as many times as you want. Park Hopper does add a fairly significant cost to your tickets, but if you're looking to jump around to different parks for meals or are trying to cram as much Disney stuff as you can into just a few days, it could be well worth the added cost. So let's say you don't get a ticket with the Park Hopper option at first, but later on you decide you actually do want it. That's totally fine. You can always add it to your park tickets once you're in Disney World. But make sure to add those park hoppers as soon as you're able to, because Disney will charge you for adding the park hopper to the full length of your trip, even if you're in the middle of your trip. Meaning, if you add park hopping on day 3 of your 5-day visit, you'll still be charged for park hopping for days 1 and 2, even though you didn't use it. And here's even more food for thought. You cannot remove a park hopper option from a ticket once you bought it. So my advice, really put some thought into that park hopper purchase and decide if you actually need the park hopping ability before you decide to pay for it. Oh, and those Park Hopper Plus tickets you're seeing, if you're interested in the water parks or some other Disney activities like mini golf, you can get Park Hopper Plus and add those to your trip too. But to be very frank, the Park Hopper Plus option is not super necessary because the water parks and golf courses tend to be cheaper if you just pay for them out of pocket. Just saying. Now, as you're scheduling out the itinerary for your whole trip, try to factor in at least 1 or 2 break days away from the parks if you're able. The parks are a blast, but they're not a sprint. They're a marathon, and we all find ourselves hitting that 3-day slump pretty hard after 2 full back-to-back park days. So don't feel like you need to pay for park tickets for every single day you're in Disney. There's tons to do outside the parks too, not to mention napping. That'll keep things more leisurely, like hanging out by your resort's themed pool, or shopping around Disney Springs, or taking the Skyliner to visit different Skyliner hotels. Lots to do. So I hear you asking me, what's a memory maker? I see you've gotten to the next page of purchasing your park tickets, which means you're now facing yet another decision. Do you want to add memory maker for an additional cost? Well, during your trip, you'll likely see Disney photographers out and about, taking other families' photos and telling them to do these cute poses in front of iconic park scenes. This is called Disney PhotoPass. Disney PhotoPass is technically free to use, and the pictures, with watermarks included, are automatically uploaded to your My Disney Experience account so you can see them online later. Some photographers can even add in fun magical stuff to your photos. Those are called magic shots, so be sure to ask about them. Some of my favorite magic shots in the past have been the one where you hold out your hand and Tinkerbell's sitting in your palm, or when you're asked to look shocked while gazing up above and an Animal Kingdom banshee flies overhead. Now, if you want to download all the PhotoPass photos from your trip and keep them forever and ever, that's when you need to buy the Memory Maker service. By the way, it's cheaper if you buy it before your trip instead of after. So if you know this is something you're going to want, then yeah, go ahead and purchase it when you buy your park tickets. But forewarning, Memory Maker is pricey, and there's a good chance you're not actually going to want or need every single PhotoPass picture that you take, because what if you blink in one, or Aunt Susan starts scolding Cousin Jimmy for trying to steal another of her purse candies mid-shot? Now, you can choose instead to pay for PhotoPass pictures individually if you'd like, for a much cheaper option that gives you the choice to pay for only one PhotoPass picture that you actually want, or 2 or 3 or whatever. You have to buy a lot of PhotoPass pictures to actually get to the point that you're breaking even with Memory Maker. And heads up, there's also an option for you to purchase Memory Maker for 1 day of your trip. If you want it for, say, your Magic Kingdom day, but you don't necessarily need it for your Hollywood Studios day or something like that. You can do that too. My advice though, unless you are like a major scrapbooker and you definitely want like 600 photos, don't worry about buying Memory Maker, just buy the photos that you really want. Also, don't forget, PhotoPass photographers will take a picture of you for free with your phone. So they can take basically the exact same picture they were gonna take just on your phone, and then it's free. Okay, you got your tickets, but where are they exactly? Okay, don't worry. When you buy your Disney tickets, they don't just get sucked into the void, becoming nothing more than an enigma. Instead, they can materialize for you in a few different ways. The first is the most basic, which might be the easiest for you, and those are the Key to the World physical cards that you'll receive when you check into your Disney World hotel up at the front desk. The second, and the most stylish way, are through magic bands. Magic bands are these colorful, possibly even character-inspired wrist accessories that can be used to open your Disney World hotel room door, charge purchases to your account, link PhotoPass photos, hold on to important reservation information, and of course, hold on to your park tickets. Magic bands can be purchased at Disney World and on the Disney Store website, as well as through the My Disney Experience app. Disney World hotel guests and annual pass holders can also pre-order some magic bands at a discount ahead of their trip, but those discounted bands are usually very limited in design. So if you want something more specific, or maybe even grab an exclusive magic band that could be released during one of Disney's many limited time events, then you might want to hold off and purchase a magic band while you're at the parks. Magic bands can be extremely convenient and easy to set up through the My Disney Experience app, but they're not required if you choose not to use them. Your last option for how to keep hold of your tickets during your trip is the Magic Mobile option. Magic Mobile incorporates a lot of the same features that a Magic Band has and transfers them all to your smartphone for free. Magic Mobile is available on the My Disney Experience app as well. So let's talk a little bit more about that app. What if you don't want to be on your phone during your trip? Can you skip the app? This has been a common complaint across the Disney bubble as of late, and that's because the My Disney Experience app is so useful when it comes to so many aspects of your Disney World vacation. Not to mention, it's free to download and use. The My Disney Experience app gives you the ability to double-check park times, make dining reservations, see the current wait times for the rides, look at park maps, make lightning lane selections, that's a topic we're going to cover later on, and more. So you can create My Disney Experience accounts for all your family members joining you on vacation and link everyone's tickets and Magic Band information too. With all that being said, with great convenience comes a great amount of screen time. And if you're not careful, you might get so caught up in all the My Disney Experience app functions that you forget to look up and see Mickey Mouse walk past. While there's so much that you can do on your My Disney Experience app, you don't have to do it all. You're still more than welcome to stand in a physical line for fast food locations instead of using mobile order, or skip the Lightning Lane add-ons and stick with the standby queues for rides, or check out all your PhotoPass pictures on the Disney World website once you get back home, etc., etc. But I would highly still recommend that you download the app so you can access all the convenient features that you want to access during your trip, especially when it comes to snagging virtual queues, which again, we'll talk more about later on. While it's good to have one designated person in your group who's the mastermind of the My Disney Experience app, it's also a good idea, if possible, to have more than one person download the app with your group's info, or maybe even just their own info so that people can take turns checking the app for wait times or more lightning lane selections that pop up. So in a nutshell, nope, you don't have to stare at your phone all day in order to accomplish a successful Disney World trip. But it can also be easy to slip into that mindset when you're in the midst of your park day, and that's why pre-planning your trip, like you're doing right now, is so crucial. That way, you don't have to completely use My Disney Experience as a crutch. Okay, for this point, I'm actually going to start by giving you our free MultiPass guide and then go into the description of things, because you're definitely going to want to learn the specific ins and outs of these services if you're planning on using them to help you ride as many rides as possible during your trip. So here's the QR code for our ultimate MultiPass and SinglePass guide. Much like the other guides, you can also pick this one up instead by going to disneyfoodblog.com/multipass if that's more convenient for you, but it's totally free and we'll send it right to your inbox. Okay, now without further ado, let's get into the MultiPass/SinglePass Lightning Lane basics. To sum up both MultiPass and SinglePass versions of Lightning Lane in just one sentence, these are premium services that help you bypass the standard queues for most of Disney World's rides. See, that's an easy and non-complicated way to start things. So let's take that idea one step further. Both multi and single passes can start being booked before your trip. For MultiPass, which will give you a chunk of Disney Lightning Lanes to choose from, you can book up to 3 Lightning Lanes for a single park each day, either 7 days in advance if you're going to be staying as a Disney hotel guest, or 3 days in advance if you'll be staying off property. SinglePass works similarly, where you'll either be booking them in advance 3 or 7 days before your trip, but SinglePass Lightning Lanes are more of an a la carte service reserved for each park's most popular rides. So you're not going to find SinglePass Lightning Lanes featured in the MultiPass list of options, and vice versa. You can hold up to 2 SinglePass Lightning Lanes per day. You're going to pay for those separately. Now, don't overthink this next part. I know, easier said than done, right? But when you're booking those MultiPass Lightning Lanes in advance, 3 out of the 4 Disney parks use a Lightning Lane tier system. Animal Kingdom isn't allowed to join the club, apparently. Tiers might sound confusing at first, but really all it means is that you'll choose 1 Lightning Lane to book in advance from the Tier 1 list and 2 more or all 3 from the Tier 2 list. Once you get to the park and you use your first MultiPass Lightning Lane of the day, you'll be able to book another one immediately after, since you can hold up to 3 Lightning Lanes all day long. Now, the tiers are only applicable when you're pre-selecting Lightning Lanes, so don't worry about choosing a Tier 1 or Tier 2 option when you're in the midst of your park day. Just choose whatever you want that works best with your plans. And if you don't remember all of this after we wrap up here today, it is totally okay. All of this Lightning Lane info is listed out there for you in our free guide, so you can just look back at it as a cheat sheet before and during your upcoming park visits. Now, if you're not sure about buying those Lightning Lanes, but you're still a little bit nervous about your ride lines, here are a few of our favorite ways to cut down on waiting in lines without worrying about the multi and single pass purchases. Method number 1, wake up for rope drop. Now, rope drop refers to when the parks open. Back in the day, and sometimes still, especially on busy days, cast members hold a rope across the entrance to individual sections of the park. Then at rope drop, they literally drop the rope and everyone heads in. Sometimes rope drop happens about 15 to 30 minutes before the park officially opens. Not always, but sometimes. So aim to be at the park of your choosing about 30 minutes before its official posted opening time to get a major head start on the crowds. Method number 2, use those hotel perks. Remember those Disney hotel benefits we briefly mentioned earlier? Yep, early theme park entry and extended evening hours, those are some of the big ones. Early theme park entry allows all Disney hotel guests to enter any park 30 minutes before opening, and that means you can start getting in ride lines even before the rope dropping crowd. Meanwhile, if you're staying at a deluxe Disney hotel, you'll have access to extended evening hours at select parks on certain nights, which gives you an extra 2 hours inside the parks after they close to the general public. Big disclosure here, not every ride will be open during early theme park entry or extended evening hours, but the ones that are going to be available will be listed on the Disney World website. Method number 3, stay up late. Ride lines typically start to go down in the late afternoon and early evening, and if you're willing to stay a little past park close, the wait times dip even more. As long as you're in line for a ride before cast members close off the queue for it, which is usually right there at closing time, you'll be allowed to wait and ride the attraction even if the wait time seeps past closing hours. The only problem with this method is that it can be somewhat of a gamble, because if anything happens that causes the ride to go down or be inoperable, it's just going to be down for the rest of the night and you have to cut your losses. Ooh, so I can rope drop rides like Cosmic Rewind. Well, no, not currently at least. There are select rides in Disney World that use a little something called a virtual queue, which you either hate to love or love to hate. And these virtual queues are usually given to Disney's newest experiences to help with crowd control. At the time of this video's release, virtual queues are available for Tiana's Bayou Adventure in Magic Kingdom and Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind in Epcot, but that could totally change before you get there. So please, please, please join our newsletter, follow us over on Disney Food Blog, make sure you know how to board these rides as well as future rides before you go. There, my disclaimer's out of the way. Now I can proceed with a clear conscience. When and where virtual queues are in use, you'll need to download the My Disney Experience app to sign up for a boarding group for the ride. Boarding group drops go live right at 7 a.m. and 1 p.m., but they can and do book up really, really quickly. If virtual queues kind of give you hives just thinking about them, you can always bypass those queues entirely by using lightning lanes instead. But if you will be relying on virtual queues during your visit, it's super important to brush up on those how-tos before attempting to get one. And fortunately for you, we got those how-to tips already typed up for you. Just search DisneyFoodBlog.com and virtual queues in your Google search engine, and our step-by-step post of the DFB website should be listed right at the top of the page. Okay, time to talk about shows, fireworks and parades and stage shows. So much to talk about when it comes to live entertainment. While Disney World is often praised for its state-of-the-art rides, the entertainment here is pretty incredible too. So which shows do you need to add to your ever-growing list of must-dos? Now, where do I begin? Well, how about the obvious? Disney's nighttime spectaculars, those fireworks shows, are the most popular form of entertainment for Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Epcot. Animal Kingdom's apparently not allowed to join this club either at the moment. Epcot's show, Luminous, takes place on World Showcase Lagoon. Hollywood Studios' show, Fantasmic, takes place off Sunset Boulevard in an outdoor amphitheater. I'd suggest getting there maybe 20 minutes early for a good seat, maybe even sooner if it's super busy the day of your visit. And Magic Kingdom's show, Happily Ever After, takes place at Cinderella Castle. You'll be able to see the projections clearly from the castle's hub as well as on Main Street USA, but because viewing space is bound to fill up more quickly than the other two spectaculars, you might want to stake your spot out 30 to 45 minutes before the showtime. Magic Kingdom is the only park with a fully fledged parade called Festival of Fantasy. You'll typically have the chance to see this one twice each day, and it really is worth seeing at least once, if not for the Maleficent Steampunk Dragon alone. And if you're watching this video from the future, hi, I hope it's great over there, then you may even get a Magic Kingdom nighttime parade that's coming in summer of 2025. And then you've got all those live stage shows to consider across Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom that are going to give you off-Broadway levels of performance. In studios, you can watch Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, Beauty and the Beast live on stage, and the Frozen Sing-Along Celebration, as well as The Little Mermaid, a musical adventure, which is going to be opening in the fall. And we've also got a Villains show coming. in 2025, which again, if you're watching this video in the future, there you go. And in Animal Kingdom, you can watch Festival of the Lion King and Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond. One last thing about all of the shows before we move on. Be aware that showtimes often vary, so you're going to want to check the My Disney Experience app and or those posted schedules on the information boards inside the parks for updated showtimes. Hold up, is that Donald Duck in a sombrero? Oh, cool. You must be in Epcot's Mexico Pavilion right now. We love meeting and greeting with the three caballeros Donald. But there are so many other characters we love to meet and greet too. Character meet and greet locations give guests the chance not only to meet Disney pals, but to give the characters hugs and have their pictures taken with them. Characters are able to sign autographs a lot of the time. Keep in mind that Disney friends can show up anywhere in the parks. However, there are several locations dedicated to character meet and greets where you can be certain to meet your favorites. Want to see the full list of character meet and greet opportunities to help with your planning? Search DisneyFoodBlog.com meet and greets in your Google search engine, and you're going to find our DFB web post detailing where to find all the Disney character meet and greets inside Disney World. And don't forget to check the My Disney Experience app or Disney World website for character meet and greet info too. The MDE app is especially useful because it's going to give you the time frame for when each of the characters should be out and about that day. And I'm sorry, what? There are hundreds of restaurants here? Yep, there sure are. And just picture little old me back in 2009 who was deeply embedded in Disney message boards and info sites, but still coming up dry when it came to anything Disney food related. Even Disney didn't publish pictures of their food back then, and they also didn't have menus on their website. And yet back in 2009, there were still hundreds of Disney restaurants to choose from. And that's why Disney Food Blog was born, because I wanted to at least show people pictures of what they would get when they ordered food from different locations and let them know what I thought of it as well, since I too am a huge Disney and food fan, just like my readers were and still are today. Fast forward 15 years later, and now I've got all of you joining me on this journey, which is literally a dream come true. But I'm going to put a pin in all this happy stuff for now and reel things back in so that I can give you the basic breakdown of Disney dining with plenty of Disney food pictures for you to ooh and ah and drool over as I talk. Much like the Disney hotels have categories, so do the Disney restaurants. There's counter service or quick service locations. That's like your fast food components at the parks where you order your food, pick it up, and take it to your table. And then there are also table service restaurants where you'll be seated, a cast member will take your order, and your food will be brought to your table. Unless you're at a buffet, that is. Then you gotta bring the food to your own table. Reservations are not required, nor can they be made for counter service spots, but advanced dining reservations can and should be made for table service locations. At many popular spots, reservations essentially become required if you want to dine there, though you may still be able to find walk-up availability for select restaurants on the day of your visit by checking out the dining tab on the My Disney Experience app. It's a gamble, but availability does pop up. You can make dining reservations 60 days ahead of your Disney trip. Reservations can book up pretty quickly for some spots, particularly those more in-demand locations like meals that feature character dining like Cinderella's Royal Table in the Magic Kingdom right inside the castle, or signature and fancy establishments like Le Cellier and Epcot. So make sure you're up and at 'em 60 days before the start of your trip so you can start booking your top priority restaurants as soon as you can. ADRs, that's what we call advanced dining reservations, will go live on the site starting at 7 a.m. Eastern. You can cancel your reservations later on if you change your mind about it, but please note that most Disney reservations will charge you a cancellation fee, usually $10 per person, if you fail to show up for the meal or don't cancel 2 hours or more ahead of your dining experiences. Some restaurants might have different cancellation policies, so it's always good to double check that fine print when you book them just in case. Also, if you're on a serious budget or you've got picky eaters in the group, you can bring food and snacks, water bottles, sodas, and more into the Disney World parks without having to pay extra for snacks everywhere you go. If you've got special dietary needs or allergies, there are also several things you can do to notify Disney and help them best accommodate you. Cast members will be happy to help in any way they can. All right, now that we got the basics out of the way, let me introduce you to the fruits of my and the entire DFB team's labor over the past 15 years. The DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining. Now, this guide has gone through so many iterations as restaurants around property continue to change and open and close. So we not only continuously update this guide to make it more accessible for future guests, but we also continue to update it so you can rest assured you'll have relevant dining information about every single Disney World World restaurant and lounge, and everywhere else you can get food on property. Yep, all of them, hundreds of them, no matter when you purchase it. You can grab our dining guide today over on dfbstore.com. And just for an added bonus, because I am so glad you're here, go ahead and type in code YouTube for some additional savings before you check out. Now, remember, this is 100% money back guaranteed. If you don't like this guide, that's totally okay. Just let us know. We'll get you your money back. You can still keep the guide. So I hope you love it, but if you don't, no stress. Just let us know. Okay, it's very, very common for guests to fly into Orlando and be at the mercy of Disney transportation all trip long. So let's take a look at all the transportation options you'll have to choose from. First, you've got your main option, the Disney buses, which travel continuously to and from all 4 theme parks and Disney Springs and all of the resort hotels. Oh, and the water parks too. Disney Resort Hotel guests will find wait times posted at the bus stop stations at their resorts to find out when the next bus will arrive to carry them to their destination. Super handy little TVs there that are brand new. As a general rule, bus service from Disney Resort Hotels to the theme parks begins 45 minutes prior to park opening and ends 1 hour after park close. Disney buses can accommodate wheelchairs and ECVs, those are electric conveyance vehicles, but guests traveling with strollers must fold the strollers prior to boarding a bus and keep them folded for the duration of the ride. Another side note, your bus station won't necessarily be able to get you everywhere in Disney. For example, resort bus stops can't transfer guests to other resorts, and Disney Springs buses can't take you to the parks. Next up on the list, you've got the ever-popular monorail that you may want to ride just for the fun of it. The Transportation and Ticket Center, or the TTC, serves as the hub for the 3 different monorail loops. The first loop is for the Resort Monorail, which brings guests to Magic Kingdom, Disney's Contemporary Resort, Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, the Transportation and Ticket Center, and Disney's Grand Floridian Resort. These are the monorail resorts. Obviously. Then there's the Express Monorail, which carries guests directly to and from the Transportation and Ticket Center and the Magic Kingdom. It also zooms through the inside of Disney's Contemporary Resort too, which is a fun little extra thrown in there for you, but it doesn't stop there. Finally, there's the Epcot Monorail, which brings guests to and from the Transportation and Ticket Center and, as the name suggests, Epcot itself. Another popular Disney transportation method, that's actually the newest transportation method too, fancy since it opened back in 2019, is the Disney Skyliner. This gondola system connects Epcot and Hollywood Studios along with 4 Disney hotels, Caribbean Beach Resort, which is also home to the Skyliner Hub, Disney's Riviera Resort, and Disney's Pop Century and Art of Animation resorts. And let's not forget about Disney's water transportation services too. The ferry boat provides an additional way for guests to get to and from the Magic Kingdom and the TCC. You can also cruise from several Disney World Resort hotels on a water taxi to the theme parks or Disney Springs. More food for thought here though. Disney transportation is ultra convenient, but it might not be the fastest method for you if you're trying to get somewhere on property in a jiffy. So the next time you're in a rush, trying to make it to a dining reservation on time or a lightning lane, you might want to splurge on a rideshare service like Uber or Lyft, or even Disney's own rideshare service called minivans, which you can book through the Lyft app. They're more expensive, but they're always clean and they have really, really nice car seats. Now, we've tried to give you kind of an overview of everything you're going to need to know to go to Disney World, but if you need more help, that's totally okay. This was jam-packed with information. And when you're trying to juggle life and work and soccer practice and PTA meetings and board meetings and school stuff and everything that you're juggling, it can be hard to sit down and plan a full-on Disney World vacation. Now, you know we've got you covered over on the Disney Food Blog website, on our social media channels, on our newsletter, but if you need extra help, we always recommend the travel agents over at Small World Vacations. I've known the owner of that particular travel agency for years and years and years. She is amazing. Her agents are incredible, and they're going to know all the latest Disney discounts and trends. They can make sure you have personalized advice and make your vacation planning stress-free. Best of all, it doesn't cost a thing. So if you want to reach out for a quote from this merry band of magic makers, we'll go ahead and link their info down in the description for you. Hopefully today's video has proven to be a success and has set you up with a lot of tools and resources to help guide you through the planning process. But know that we've got so many other videos that go a lot more in depth into all of these things. Don't worry, we got you covered. We do 5 videos a week, and they're all about helping you have a better trip to Disney World. That said, please feel free to drop any more questions you have about your upcoming trip down in the comments. We're going to answer them for you and also add some of them into future videos so we can help even more folks. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.